Hello everyone and welcome to a Thermomix TM5 and TM7 side-by-side demonstration. Hey guys, happy Friday. Chelsea McGill from Mixing It Real here. We have been cooking with our TM7 for a couple of months now. I'm trying to think, I can't even remember when I got it. It's all a bit of a blur. Maybe about 3 months now. Absolutely loving it. Just wanting to give you a little bit of an idea of the differences between a TM5 and a TM7. I have a lot of you guys that have a TM5, and I do hear from a lot of TM5 owners that I just don't use my Thermomix that much. I do some breads, I do some slices, maybe a soup, but I don't really cook with it a lot. Now, I had a TM5. I did think it was the bee's knees at the time, but it wasn't until we got our TM6 all those years ago that even my husband said to me, wow, we really didn't use the TM5 much, did we? The user experience on the TM5 is not great. I did have my beautiful neighbour upgrade recently from a TM5 to a TM7, and that was the first thing that she said to me. Couldn't believe the user experience difference on the TM7 to the TM5. So I thought, great opportunity to give you guys a little bit of a look at a TM5 and a TM7 side by side, and we are going to do a little bit of cooking. We're just going to cook some onions today in it. Really, really simple, because I want you to see the difference in the heat in the TM5 and the TM7, and you'll get to hear a little bit of the sound difference as well. Then we're going to talk all about TM5 and TM7. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat below so I can answer them for you. So I don't think I introduced myself. Chelsea McGill from Mixing It Real, coming to you on this Friday afternoon to give you a little bit of insight into our TM5 and our TM7. So let's get cracking, and my screen is not pointing in the right direction. One sec. Thought I was all ready to go until it chopped my head off. All right, so we're going to put some onions on. So we start off in our TM5, we're going to go to our hottest temperature. Now, one thing I love about our TM7, it has an inbuilt glider foot, so you can just pick it up and drag it around the bench. With our TM5, you do need to be careful. You always want to make sure you're lifting it before you're placing it down. So in our TM5, we are going to place it like that, and we're going to go to our scales. We're just going to go 10 grams of oil. One of the first things that you'll notice is that our TM5 weighs in 5 gram increments. Our TM7 weighs in 1 gram increments. So our first difference there. Tear off our scales. The screen just looks so tiny. It's so funny. I haven't worked with the TM5 for years, obviously, and a big difference in screen size. So I've just got brown onion chopped, same. For the TM5, into kind of eighths. Leave it on, and then we're going to do the same thing in our TM7. So we're going to go into our manual mode and open up those scales. I'm going to go 10 grams of olive oil. So our scales over here. So 1 gram scales, so much more precise, especially for things like your baking. And then we're going to go in with a brown onion as well. So same. Whole brown onion, cut into about eighths. So we are going to set these to their hottest temperature. So bringing them back around so you can see. So our hottest temperature on our TM7 is 160 degrees. Our hottest temperature on our TM5 is 120 degrees. So I am going to get out of my manual mode on my TM7, go down to my blades, which takes me into our modes. We can access all our modes on the screen. You can see with our TM5, our only modes are our scales, our dough mode, and our reverse function. Then, of course, you've got like your steaming, your cooking, that kind of stuff. On your TM7, we have over 20 different modes. We've got manual mode, self-clean, dough mode, so dough mode there, browning, which we're going to use, steaming. So, of course, you can steam on the TM5. It is just a mode on the 7 to make life a little bit easier. We've got our turbo, which you can also access on the TM5. When I click our dough button, we have turbo, dough, and self-clean on our TM5. I did trick you there. We've got our blends, our egg boiler. We've got open lid cooking, which is a brand new one exclusive to our TM7. Our kettle, our reheat mode, rice cooker, thicken, slow cook, fermentation, sous vide, peeler, grater, slicer, and spiralizer. So as you can see, we've had quite a few upgrades over the years, and our TM7 has some incredible new functions. Something else that is exclusive to the TM7 is browning on the screen. So with the TM6, it does have the 160-degree cooking mode, but it isn't accessible manually. It is only through guided cooking. So our TM7, so we've got our browning mode ready to go. Now with our TM7, we're going to click on it and we're going to go 10 minutes, turning our dial. Oh, I've gone way too far. 10 minutes, we're going to go around to our hottest, which is our Varoma temperature, which is 120 degrees. Varoma is actually a variable temperature when you've got water in the bowl. So I'm going to select 120 degrees on my TM5. And I've got my 160 already set here. And I've already got 10 minutes preset on. If you want to add any more, just tap your time and you just scroll your finger up the dial, or you've got some presets there that you can add as well. On your high heat mode, you've got gentle and you've got intense, depending on what you're doing. Intense is going to be more like your meats. Gentle is going to be more of your veggies. So we're just going to stick to gentle. And then around here, we're just going to go to speed 1. We're just going to hit play on our TM5, on our TM7. So we have our onions cooking. Now, sound-wise, put my microphone on, so hoping you can hear that clearly. You can hear the motor whirring in the TM5. You can hear the blade spinning and the motor whirring, which you no longer hear in the TM7. So our TM7 motor is virtually silent. It is going to be hard to tell how silent it is because you're still going to be hearing our TM5 in the background. But our TM7 is virtually silent. And with our high heat mode, the blades intermittently spin. So they aren't spinning the whole time like they are on the TM5. So with that browning mode or the high heat mode, 160 degrees. I wonder if you can hear it crackling and popping. Let me know in the comments if you can hear that. So you can hear, oh, you want me to pause? I'll pause the TM5? Sure. Good, great idea. So you can hear the crackling and the popping as the TM7 gets into its 160 degrees to do that beautiful sauteing. Great, thank you guys. So you can hear that sauteing, but also you'll notice that you don't hear the blades spinning. So the TM7 has a virtually silent motor. Up until speed 2 and below, you will not hear the motor turning or the blades spinning. You will just hear like the sauteing if you're using the high heat mode, which is amazing. I actually didn't realize kind of how loud the older model Thermomixes were until I got the TM7. The other thing the TM7 has is the insulated bowl, which means that it is going to reduce your noise when you're doing those things that we all know can be quite loud when we're utilizing the full power of our Thermomix, doing things like almonds, parmesan cheeses, things like that. So insulated bowl means that it is that little bit quieter. Another difference, insulated bowl means that you can grab the outside of the TM7 bowl. So with the TM5, we've got the stainless steel bowl, which means we don't want to be touching it. Our lights on the front are red, which is letting us know that that outside of that bowl can be getting quite hot. And if you touch it, you can burn yourself. So we're always using our handle. Our TM7 has the insulated casing over the bowl, so we no longer have to worry about that. You do still have the red light, which is now here. You can see that reflection on my hand. So that's letting you know that it is getting hot inside the bowl, but that outside of the bowl is not going to get hot, which is awesome. The insulated casing does make it a little bit heavier, but that hasn't bothered me at all because I can grab it with 2 hands now. So with the older model Thermomix, we've really got to rely on that handle to do everything. With the TM7 now, if it is full and feeling a bit heavy, grab it with 2 hands. It is safe. You are not going to burn yourself, which is a massive win. Obviously, with our TM5 to TM7, one of the biggest things is the design. So they have totally redesigned the TM7. We have a 10-inch screen versus, I'm going to say like a 3-inch. The TM6 was a 6-inch. So I'm not 100% sure what the TM5 is. Maybe, yeah, like a 2.5 to 3-inch screen. So we've got the iPad size screen on the TM7 there. We no longer have the tactical dial on the TM7. You're doing a lot of push and play rather than having to set your time, temperature, speed with your dial there, which is interesting. I was worried about how I was going to feel about no dial, but I found it so easy. Everything we do, we scroll like this. Think about using your iPhone, your iPad, that kind of stuff. So it is really, really natural to kind of scroll that way. No more locking arms is a massive one that I'm finding. So not having to clean the arms. To all my TM5 and TM6 owners out there, you may have hated cleaning those arms like I have. They do tend to catch a lot of food in it. If you're a messy cook like I am, not having those arms is really cool. We've also got the locking mechanism, blade locking mechanism here in our TM7. That's this one on the side of the bowl, which is how we release our blades. So with our TM5, we unscrew the bottom of the bowl, we can pull our blades out. With our TM7, we just flick the lever, blades come out, blades go back in, flick the lever. No more turning your TM5 bowl upside down to be able to get those blades back in or out, whichever way you want to do it. There are some of the main things that you're going to notice when you're looking at the TM5 and the TM7. So then when we talk about those internal things that are quite different. So we've talked about the motor sounding totally different. You do not hear the TM7 motor whirring like you do with that TM5. It does go hotter. It goes 40 degrees hotter. You can access the browning mode on the screen of the TM7. Then, of course, we have over 20 different modes and functions versus maybe 5 or so in our TM5. Huge difference there. Measuring cup on the TM5 is our plastic one that does just kind of come in and out. Our TM7 has a lid cap, but you can cook without the lid cap because it has a built-in splash guard inside the lid there, which is really handy so nothing can get out and splash you. When we're thinking about connectivity, some of my TM5 owners will have a cook key which connects you up to your Wi-Fi. So this little guy here, if you have one of these with your TM5, that is called our cook key. Now, our cook key is what connects the TM5 to the internet. Now, the cook key was something that was developed after the TM5. So if you've had a TM5 for quite some time, you will have you will definitely have a little round chip that sits in that side called the basic cookbook, and you may have spent money on some other recipe chips. I remember getting my TM5. I did have a TM31 originally, and I upgraded to the TM5, and I remember being so wowed by the cookbooks. Like, oh my God, I can get recipes on the screen. This was the start of guided cooking, which was a game changer at the time. So the thing that I struggled with the cookbooks was remembering what recipe was on what cookbook and having to plug it in and scroll through it to find it. Then along came the cook key, and when that came out, I was like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. It connects you to the internet. So that's where our cookie do connection came along for our TM5. Now, if you haven't had a cook key with your TM5, that's absolutely fine. If you do, you'll know what I'm talking about. So you are able to sync recipes from the Cookie Do app over to the screen of your TM5. Now, you can get your phone, you search for your recipe, you add it to your week, to your daily planner, cook today, and then you do have to hit the little sync button over here. I actually haven't connected this one to my Wi-Fi, so there would be a little sync button there which you would hit. You would then have to wait for it to talk to each other, and then you would find your new recipe in your weekly meal planner. So with our TM5, when we go into our menu, you can go into your weekly planner and find your recipe that is in there. So we've got an all-in-one chicken dinner for today. Now you can scroll your finger down the screen. You've got your ingredients, tips, hints, bits and pieces, and then you can hit the start cooking button, which you cannot do because it is cooking right now. So with our TM7, little bit easier. It is all built in Wi-Fi connected. So on the screen we have our, bring it forward for you to see nicely. And we have our weekly meal planner ready to go. So my TM7 has our planned recipes for the week. We've got a chunky bolognese and a better banana cake on our meal plan for today. So there is no need to sync recipes. You don't have to wait. You can also search the screen of the TM7. Obviously, with the big 10-inch screen, it is really easy to search. So let's say I want to find that all-in-one chicken dinner. Where are we? I'm typing upside down. Can't find the L. All in one. All in one. And here is our all-in-one chicken dinner. It is so fast. There is your recipe ready to go. So with the TM5, you would need to get your phone if you are using a cook key and select a recipe and then hit the sync button, wait for it to come over. With the TM7, you can search directly on the screen to bring up your recipes. You do also have your weekly planner there ready to go, or you can still add things in directly from your phone, as I said, into your weekly planner or to your cook today if you want to do it that way. So whatever works for you. That's our biggest difference with our connectivity. Much, much faster, not having to wait, no delay, ready to go. Also, guided cooking on a screen this size versus guided cooking on a screen that size is pretty great. Pretty big difference there. No glasses needed when you're working with such a big screen like this one. But when we hit start cooking, we have finished there. When we hit start cooking, as I said, I can't start. Our onions are nearly finished, so we can hit start cooking just to give you an idea of the difference. Now, our TM7 has pictures along the way as well, which is very cool. So it's letting me know to place my varoma into position, and it's showing me which one my varoma is, which is very cool. That little digital twin there will tell you exactly what you need to know. So when to put your lid on, when to take your lid off. It will also show you as your bowl is filling up. It will show you your levels that you're at, all of those really great things. So just making that user experience so easy. Let's see where we're at. How long we got to go with our 10 minutes? I actually can't exit out of a recipe on the TM5. So please wait, lid will unlock as soon as the temperature in the bowl is below 95 degrees. So I'm not able to unlock my TM5 bowl just yet, but my TM7 lid is ready to come off. And look at those beautiful onions. So that's 10 minutes on our high heat mode or our sauteing and browning. And look how beautiful and brown they are. Let's grab them out. So look at the profile of the TM7 without the bowl. It's so slim. It just looks so different on the bench next to the TM5. All right, grab a plate and show you. Now, I actually don't have a TM5 spatula. This is a TM6 spatula. This is a TM7 spatula. Our TM5 spatula was very hard, very tricky to use. TM7 spatula is soft, much bigger, does also stand, and it has a blade bit that you can turn your bowl upside down and twist your blades back and forwards to release your dough, which is really handy. It doesn't have the lip on it like this one, but it does still stand up off your bench, so it's not dirtying your bench. All right, our TM5 has decided we can open now. And that is 10 minutes of cooking our onions in our hottest temperature in our TM5. TM7, TM5. Look at the difference. It's amazing what that extra heat can do in that TM7 browning mode. Let's pop these on a plate. TM7 spatula. It blows my mind that it took them like 50 years to make a spatula the same size as the bowl. Such a brilliant company. It's the little things. And then our TM5 onions on our hottest temp for the same time. Oh, we've got a couple that have come out a little bit brown there. Must have been those ones at the bottom. So the biggest difference, obviously, is the degrees that it gets hotter, but also that the blades stop spinning in the TM5, whereas they continuously spin the blades stop spinning in the TM7, that they continuously spin in the TM5. So with the TM5, you're not able to get that heat transfer to get that beautiful caramelization and browning that you can in the TM7. So when we're thinking about flavor, taste, and variety of meals, the TM7 is going to be able to do so much more for you. So thinking about stir fries, browning, braising, all of those great things you can now do in the TM7 that you just can't do in the TM5 thanks to that hotter temperature and the ability for those blades to stop moving. So the blades spin intermittently on that high heat mode, which means they can spin and stop, allow that really beautiful heat transfer, browning, caramelization before they start spinning again. I'm using a device so I can see the back screen on my phone, which gives you forward instead of you having to read backwards, but it does mean that I have to read backwards when comments come through. So I actually can't read that. Give me one sec. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. The difference is so cool, is the comment. I can't win. Either you guys have to read backwards or I have to read backwards. So I made a sacrifice today for you guys to not have to read backwards. Comparing models, I thought it was important for you to be seeing forwards, but I'm seeing backwards. So please keep any questions or comments coming, but if I can't read them, I will answer them after, I promise. So there we have the difference in the cooking is pretty astronomical. So when you're thinking about it, as I said, you know, I used to use my TM5. Don't get me wrong. I made some pastas. I did a lot of baking. I love to bake, always have done a lot of breads and doughs and things like that in my TM5. My stocks and basics, but I really didn't cook a whole lot of meals, you know, maybe like a risotto and a pasta, that kind of thing, maybe a layered dish every now and then, but I wasn't using it for a whole lot of actual cooking. Wasn't until I got a TM6 that I really started doing that, and the TM7 gives you the ability to do even more. Another question, great to see the difference. Fabulous. I'm glad you're enjoying seeing the differences. I thought seeing the TM5, we don't see a lot of TM5s around anymore, especially like you guys on social media and stuff like that. So I thought kind of giving you that comparison of the TM5 to the TM7 was a good idea. So let's bring up that recipe that we were looking at. So I go back into my weekly planner. Oh, doing it from this angle is awkward. To my weekly planner and back into our all-in-one chicken dinner. So let's see if we can start it now. There we go. So first up, you got your ingredients, your portions, hit next. So this is the same step on the TM5 and the TM7. So place aroma dish into position with that great picture, and then that's the little picture that we've got there for the TM5. So you do still have guided cooking on your TM5. It just is a little bit more, a little bit easier, more user-friendly, a little bit fancier on our TM7. And of course, we have the ability to do so much more. If you do have, if you did have a TM5 and you do choose to upgrade to a TM7, I highly suggest using Cookie Do to filter through to be able to find things that you weren't able to make before. So using that TM7 filter is going to give you all the recipes that you couldn't make in a TM5 that you can now make in your TM7, because there's so many things using those different modes, even just as simple as that high heat mode. Some of our favorite dishes use that high heat mode and they add so much more flavor, and it really does taste that bit better. So we've talked about kind of your cookie do connection. We've talked about the different modes, the high heat. That last thing is the Varoma, which I did forget to grab out for you. So give me one sec. I always think I'm so prepared when I do these things. I spend so long prepping to be ready for you, so you don't have to see me running around the kitchen and I still end up not having everything that I need. So the TM7 Varoma is a whopping 45% bigger than the TM5 Varoma. Now, I love my Varoma. It is something that we use constantly in our house. We use our Varoma multiple times a week, and that is a huge difference in size. You can see that it's taller, but also it is a different shape. So we've got the oval shape on our TM5. Our TM7, we have that rectangle shape. So we've gained all of those corners there. Plus our tray is about double the depth and our dish is deeper as well. So look at the difference in size between those two, and then that dish as well. So you can fit 2 whole chooks in your Varoma dish. Just to give you a bit of an idea about capacity. 45% bigger takes it into that 5 litre mark, which is huge. But to give you a bit of an idea, there are our different Varoma sizes. So massive difference there. And if you are a Varoma lover, if you are cooking for a crowd, that bigger Varoma makes a huge difference. Now, there are lots of things still to come on our TM7. So the TM7 is AI compatible. I did have an opportunity to go to Germany in February, and I got to I was at the TM7 launch, which was very special and very fun. And I did get to meet and talk to the designer of the TM7 and the Cookie Do team as well, which was very exciting. There wasn't a whole lot that they could tell us, but they alluded to lots of great things. So I think about the TM6 6 years ago when it came out, it had about 8 modes. We finished up on 20 modes. So the TM7 is something that updates itself. That Wi-Fi connectivity means that it runs software updates. And new modes will be added to it. The AI compatibility is very exciting. You can see that on the Vorwerk website. It does say it is AI compatible. I would like to think that that is something that is coming soon based off the conversations that I had with the design team in Germany. When it comes to AI and what it's going to look like, that is about how long is a piece of string. So drop your comments below and let me know, what do you think AI is going to look like on the TM7, or what would you like it to look like? I would like to be able to say, hey, Cookie Do, find me the best bolognese recipe. And it brings up, the highest rated, easiest bolognese recipe. Or you turn your Thermomix on and you say to it, find me a 30-minute meal with chicken breast. And it brings it up for you ready to go. For me, that would be a game changer. And I'd like to hear if that's something that you would like. AI is such a huge thing now. So it's really interesting to wonder, what is coming on the TM7 next? Something that a lot of people have asked is the bowl bigger. So the TM7 bowl is the same size. It's the 2.2 litres, same as the TM5, bigger than the TM31. But our TM7 bowl, you will see, has the standard 5 prongs under here where our power adapter connects to it. But our TM7 has 6 prongs, so 6 power adapter prongs, which makes me think that there may be more exciting things coming for the TM7. So what kind of things would draw more power from the Thermomix? Could it be a bigger bowl? Could it be extra attachments? Could it be an air fryer? Possibilities are limitless. So because there are no arms on the TM7, we are not limited to the bowl being the same size or accessories that could come with it as well, which is really cool and really interesting when you think about that. Just trying to read these comments. Reading backwards is really, really tough. I'm just going to duck around and have a quick read. The lovely Anna has just said TM31 to TM7 was a big leap. Absolutely huge leap. And if you would like to see a TM31 and a TM7 side-by-side comparison, please let me know. I would love to do that as well. I do have all models of Thermomix in my house, which is fun. So a couple of last things. What else do I want to show you? The modes. We'll just talk about the modes again. So some of the modes that you don't have on the TM5, as I said, that browning mode, the self-clean, there is a self-clean on the TM5. Looks a little bit different. It just says add 1 litre of water and some detergent. When we go into our self-clean on our TM7, it is called pre-clean. You have these beautiful visuals. You've got quick, universal, dough, browning, fat and caramel. So different options based on what you've cooked. Something that I love is the egg boiler mode as well. So if you're like me and you struggle to boil eggs, it's hard boiled or nothing in this house. With the Thermomix, you can do soft, medium, medium hard or hard with your TM7, which is very cool and a favorite for us in our house as well. You literally just pop them in. The blades do not move in this mode, and it will cook them perfectly 10, 11, 13, 15 or 20 minutes, depending on how you like them. Open cooking is a new one to the TM7, exclusive with that TM7, where you actually cook with the lid off. So I've been doing poached eggs in this. That's my new favorite. You just crack them in, the lid stays off, the water boils, you watch them, you scoop them out when they're ready to go. The blades don't move in open cooking, so it's nice and safe. And away you go, easy. You can do things like pastas. You can do, if you're a real chefy chef and you love to cook on the stove, you want to be able to taste it, that open cooking you can really do with that one. We've got our blender, our kettle. Our warm-up is a reheat mode, so you can reheat yesterday's dinner, soup, sauces, things like that. Rice cooker uses the absorption method. You can cook rice in your TM5 in the basket, but you can do different rices and grains using absorption method in the 7. That thicken mode is one of my favorites. Gravies, custards, hollandaise sauces, things like that. It is very intuitive. It actually stops when it gets to the perfect thickness, going off the resistance against the blades. You do have an inbuilt slow cooker. Blades spin intermittently in that one to stop it from burning. Cooks to perfection. Stews, sauces, the pasta sauces, things like that. Delicious. Soups as well. Fermentation is how we make yogurt. You can do the Varoma method yogurt, so you can do like pot set yogurt. You can do pouches for the kids, so a huge money saver. Our sous vide mode is a little bit fancy, like your water bath cooking. And then you've got your peeler, grater, slicer, and spiralizer, which is an extra attachment that you will be able to get very soon for the TM7, something a little bit different. So when we're thinking about our differences between the 7 and the 5, they are probably the main things. The sound, again, is a big one. Let's just get it all going. We'll go into manual mode now that our TM5 isn't. And let's just set it on 30 seconds on speed 2. And hit play. So that is on. 30 seconds, speed 2. And you literally, like, it's virtually silent. Pause that one. Let's just go speed 2. It's on again. Huge difference in the sound there. Absolutely massive. The other thing is that up until speed 2, you can take the lid off. So your blades stop moving instantly, so it is super safe, but you can give it a stir, taste it, pop it back on, and it just continues cooking again. So you don't have that lag or delay that you do with the TM5, waiting for those arms to open, because you don't have that anymore. The lid does lock on any higher than speed 2. It's got a locking mechanism in the lid, so it does lock on absolutely safely. So it's not going to fall off. Nothing's going to come out. But up until speed 2, you can pop it off at any time, which is very, very handy as well. That is still going on speed 2, and it is just so quiet. But if I've missed anything, please feel free to drop it in the comments below. And I would love to answer it for you. Please feel free to send me a message if you have any questions. But that is a bit of a side-by-side run-through of our TM5 and our TM7. You can see our TM5 onions, hottest temperature in the TM5, TM7 onions, hottest temperature in the TM7, both for just 10 minutes. If you'd like any more information about getting a TM7 on your bench, please reach out. We do have that incredible Earn 4 opportunity at the moment as well. Of course, we have cooking experiences and we run virtual cooking classes every month. So if you have any questions, anything at all you would like to know, please feel free to yell out. I'm always here to chat. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, everyone, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.